Hey, it's Ron Dash Warrior, and this will be in my Storytime playlist because I haven't really given you a bad story in a long time. I do not know why I enjoy telling people my misfortunes, but why not? There must be one point in your life where you just wrote a stupid list, or you were filling out a stupid magazine article, or you made a list in your head about like your ideal like woman or man or your dream guy or your dream girl without actually expecting it to come true. I think when I was 15, 14, I made a list. The guy had to have red hair, he had to have a skinny, lanky body, like a nice curvy back, he had to have green eyes, he had to skateboard, and he had to play guitar, and he had to listen to rock music. I honestly never expected to get a guy with green eyes. 7 years later, I'm on my student exchange. Like I said, it was just a stupid list when I was 15. I haven't been living religiously off it, like looking for my dream guy that actually like fills all those requirements. I mean, my dream guy now is a guy that can pay his bills on time, pay his rent on time, pay his mortgages on time. That's pretty much it. Well, and the fact that, you know, he's faithful and loyal and all that shit. Gloria's leaving party, or it was an international student's leaving party, and she was from Spain. And I was going to the leaving party with my friend Oyama, which is from South Africa. Who else did I go with? Jennifer, Julieta, and I think it was Bogey. I can't remember the other girl. The girls were getting ready, I wasn't, because, I mean, like, you know, it was a house party. I'm not gonna dress up for a house party. So, you know, the girls were all getting dolled up and, you know, straightening their hair or curling it and some shit. And, we get a knock on the door, and it's, Jennifer, who I apologize for getting extremely trashed on 2 occasions meeting you. She nearly introduces a guy called James. There wasn't like this magical bullshit spark or anything. It was like, you know, like another human being meeting another human being for the first time. It's like, oh, okay, that's nice. That was the night I wasn't drinking because I had so many assignments. Yes. Anyways, I went to the toilet. I came back and everyone's talking to each other. Like, Oyama's talking to Jennifer, and Julieta's talking to, I don't know, fucking Carmen or some shit. I can't remember it. I can't remember who she was talking to, but she was talking to someone. And James was just sitting there by himself. And I'm just like, what a fucking weirdo, okay? Like, come on, talk to someone at least. Like, you know, it was like there were 3 girls all huddled together talking, and then there was, you know, 2 girls talking to each other on the other side of the room, or the dorm. And so I just felt really bad. I just sat beside him. I'm like, you know what? I'm a good Samaritan. And, you know, we just started talking, and he told me, I met Jennifer when he was the last student to study abroad, a semester abroad, and like, you know, they let them meet each other, and, you know, she wanted to study in Spain, like this, like, I don't know, this year or some shit. But yeah, we eventually walk to the party. And I knew halfway through the party that they'd forgotten to buy booze, but I just didn't say anything. I'm too fucking lazy to tell them. I'm not gonna walk another fucking 15 minutes to get booze. And unfortunately, when they're almost at the party, like 20 minutes, like a 20-minute walk into the party, they stop and they're like, oh no, we gotta get booze. So yeah, that's the girl, yeah, Selma. Jennifer, Selma, and James are all like, well, they were supposed to go to the party, but they didn't. They just stayed the same spot where we left them, and me, Oyama, and Julieta went to get booze, and we came back and I was still fucking there. So we walked to the party, and we're having a good time, we're just joking around, talking to him, and like, you know, I don't usually look at people in the eyes, but this is gonna sound so gay, but I finally looked at him in the eyes, because like, I normally just like to like stare off into space when I'm talking to people, because like, you know, I used to have a lot of acne, and I just, you know, every time people stare at my face, I always think they're looking at my, like, my pimples or something, or like maybe I've got lipstick on my teeth, but yeah, I'm just kind of self-conscious. I finally stare at James, like, look into James' eyes, and I'm talking to him, and this guy has, like, I thought his eyes were blue. I mean, like, Jesus, fucking colorblind. Like, I mean, it was dark and I don't know, but this guy had like the most beautiful eyes, like one of the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. And I was just like, wow, this guy's really good looking. We're dancing that night, and I was horribly flirting. I mean, fucking bad. Like, I was trying to get his attention with like my opinions and my criticisms. What the fuck is wrong with me when I'm so? Because like normally when you're trying to flirt, you try to bring out the best of yourself. You don't bitch like most of the time at the party. So yeah, there was this guy that was grinding on this girl, and he says, "So, are you going to Charles next?" Which is like a nightclub, or like, you know, yeah, which is like a nightclub that turns into a restaurant in the day. So I looked at them, I'm like, that was so shit, and you know, James started laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? And he goes, oh, just what you said. I was like, you gotta admit, like, that, I mean, I was thinking in my head, he's worse than me when I'm like, he's like when I'm flirting. I thought he had good looking eyes, but you know, just it didn't go any further than that until like I thought he was like a really quiet, stable, normal guy that was sober, even though he's drinking cognac. I just kept trying to like put myself down. I was like, you know, a guy like that with like me, no fucking way. Like that's, you know, so, and I was just like, oh, this dude, like, there's no way a dude like that is single. Like, no way. He's probably got a girlfriend or something. So, you know, I pretty much kind of left it. But, you know, I was kind of like still talking to him to see if it was actually, you know, if there could be something. Like, I saw a girl try to grind on him, and that's when I started to get a little jealous, you know. So after that, I just get stuck by his side at the party, and we went outside and we saw these fucking idiots sliding down a hill, or like a road, on a computer chair, like a wheelie chair, or whatever you want to fucking call it. So James got this idea. He just said it would be awesome if we could do that. So I was trying to impress this guy. I mean, I thought it was just fucking weird, but I was just like, yeah, why not? This girl wants to go down this computer chair with me, and I knew she wanted me to be on top. Please don't make a sex joke, because obviously when, like, you know, obviously you fall quicker when you're like sitting on top of someone. And so luckily the worst thing was I actually didn't fall over. I got on my feet just in time, like before the chair was about to fall, and she fell over and she scraped her arm. God, I can already tell that this is going to be a really stupid story to upload. So me and James, we went down the hill, and I was like, I don't know who suggested this. I think it was me, or maybe it was him, but we decided to go up a bigger hill. So what he does is he gets on the chair, and like at this point, like the neighbors or someone is telling us to not go on this, like to go sliding down anymore, because like you could hear it scraping all the way down the road, and it was like really pissing off the neighborhood or the neighbors. So anyways, James goes down the road. He falls over and he like tumbles down this like big ass hill, or this big ass road, but he gets up nonetheless, and he goes back on the chair and he goes back up the hill and slides back down again. I thought it was a dangerous idea, so I decided to go halfway down the hill, or like just, you know, little segments down the hill, even though I looked so retarded around the other international students. But yeah, I really was trying to impress this guy. We get the house party in trouble because, you know, like by this time you could just hear scraping down roads, and we're just waking up all the neighbors, and they called the cops. That's when they decided to, like, you know, make the party quieter, and they unfortunately had to end it. I mean, James wanted to go earlier, but Oyama told him to stay because I whispered in her ear. I was just like, Oyama, can you find a reason for James to stay longer? Like, because I mean, I really like this guy. So she just tells him to stay, and he's just like, I'm a horrible liar. So he was just like, why did she tell me to stay longer? And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I was like, I'm a really horrible liar, but hopefully he didn't catch on. He probably did. trying to like lean close to him when I'm talking. I've never done that to someone before. Like when I really like them, like I'm normally like really like distant with them, so I don't like try and freak them out. But like I was standing really close to this guy trying to talk. Me, Oyama, and James, and Selma, like Oyama and Selma are really drunk, and me and James were just walking sober and talking about the chair. And what was it? He was talking about Jeopardy, and he was talking about like the differences between men and women, and like just drama women have, and I don't know, it was just some really bizarre shit. They meet these girls, and then I think it was JR, Andreas, and Mikhail. We meet up with them, and they decide to get like a safe ride home or some shit, or like a beeper at this, like, and then we just decided to walk home. But you know, James offered to give us a ride in his car, and he parked his car all the way in the library, which is like a half an hour's walk. And whereas, you know, like, okay, our dorms were like only a 15-minute walk from the party, his car was like a 30-minute walk away from the party. So, you know, but nonetheless, I really liked that guy, so I just decided to go. And, you know, I had friends, so I don't think he was capable of rape. Yeah, also he wasn't really toned, so I had a fighting chance, just saying. But we go to James' car, and I'm just like, oh my god, do I make a move, and cause like, the whole time we're walking to his car, I'm like trying to put my hand like, around him, and then like I just stop halfway, because I was like, come on Emma, like come on, a guy like that's not gonna be into a girl like you, a guy like me. Anyways, yeah, I was like, come on Emma, like just, like, it's not gonna happen, like a hot guy like that, no way. So we're just walking awkwardly, and we're just like flirting, but you know, I thought he was just like jokingly flirting with me, like as a friend, like how every other person flirts with me. But yeah, anyways, so we get to his car, like trying to think of what to do. I'm like, you know, should I, like, should I do something, or should I just ask for his number, or the fuck do I do? So Selma and Oyama go back to the LLC, or the Living and Learning Centre. They don't live there anymore, so feel free to stalk that place. And he drives me back up to the dorm, and I was just like, oh, this, I mean, it's not gonna work. I mean, he's never gonna ask a girl like me. So, you know, I'm just like, you know, just sadly looking down, just gonna leave the door. He's just like, hey, you know, like, I don't know, he says something like, do you want me to give you my number, or do you want to give me yours? And if he gives me his number, if I give him my number, I'm just gonna end up like waiting for him to call. And like, if he gives me his number, like, I'll be too scared to call him, because like, I wouldn't know if we were friends, or I wouldn't know if we were more, because I knew there was one guy that asked for my number, and I got freaked out, and he said, oh, just as a friend though. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I was like, oh, I was praying that it wasn't like that incident. So like, I mean, I'm really good friends with that guy, like Steven, the one that asked like that, you know, I really just didn't want it to be like that with this guy. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I gave him my number, and he sends a text message 10 minutes later. It's like, you know, if you want to do something or get together sometime, just give me a call, and you know, we could have lunch or something. I'm like, oh, if he asks for lunch, that means he only wants to be friends. Oh, fuck my life. And I was just really sad. I'm like, oh, that's great. That's so nice. Yeah, awesome. Oh, I didn't call him for 3 days. The 3-day rule. So, yeah, anyways, like, I really didn't want him to think of me as, like, as a fucking friend. Cause, like, I don't mind other guys thinking of me as a friend, but just not this fucking guy, okay? I mean, this guy was just out of my fucking league. So, anyways, I called him, and, this is the time I had $80 worth of groceries stolen, and I only had $40, like, for 2 weeks. I called him, and, like, since I was broke, I was just like, I didn't know if I had to bring a friend or not, or I didn't know if he thought that, like, it was like a get to know you kind of lunch date. I was just like, so I'm kind of broke, and so wondering if you wanted to eat at the central dining hall, you know, because I have a meal plan, and yeah, I kind of don't have money on like a restaurant or anything at the moment, and you know, this is just assuming he just wanted me as a friend. He's like, oh no, we're gonna go somewhere else, and he's trying to ask me where I've never been, and I said there's this place called Proppers. Apparently it's like a really nice place, and so we went to eat there, and I was actually dressed up in this exact, well, like not in my fucking shorts, but like I was dressed up in exactly this. So I'll I was dressed up in exactly this and had like a shit ton of hairspray on, and you know, luckily hopefully it wasn't overpowering, but yeah. So we're just talking. He was just like, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite place? What's your favorite? He was just like, are you a cat lover or a dog lover? And what places have you wanted to travel in the US, or what places have you traveled in the US, and all that. I knew I fucking blew it when I said I wanted to go to Disneyland, and he started laughing, so I was like, oh, I'm not a pedophile, and he ended up choking on his food. So yeah, I was like, yep, that's my chance. I blew it. I'm pretty sure he just sees me as a friend. We went to this forest, and we're just looking at tadpoles or like algae or something, and I was really nervous because I was like, so do I just put my arm around him, or do I just stand here and look fucking awkward, just staring at algae? Just make it awkward and just stare at algae. And so yeah, we're just staring at the pond for a while, or yeah, and until we went back up, and you know, he found out I was ticklish. So yeah, anyways, he takes me back to my dorm, and then this is the part where I fucked it up. What was it, like maybe 2 or 3 days, or like I don't know, a couple of days after that date, I get a call again, and I'm in the library and it's bad reception, so I was just like, yeah, just give me a second, and you know, I sounded like I was like casually just like gonna walk out of the library and get a signal, but really I sprinted out of the library and frantically tried to find his number and call him. So he was wondering if I wanted to have dinner with him, and I was like, the whole time he was saying, like he was talking, I was just like, oh yeah, that would be great, but you know, I just gotta find a time because, you know, I'm like really busy this week, or I said I didn't have enough money this week, so I was just like, yeah, but it's just gonna take me a while. And he was like, oh, okay. Now, while this was all happening, I was like jumping up, and I literally was jumping up and down, like, you know, like skipping around and shit outside the library. I looked really fucking crazy. I was like on the corner of the library just like skipping around and shit. I thought he was gonna call me since he arranged the date, and he thought I was gonna call him because I wasn't listening when he said, you know, just if you're free, give me a call. Saturday night there was also a party that I invited him to, and there was also dinner. And you know, because he said, you know, why don't we have dinner before we go to the party? So I waited and waited, nothing. So I was just playing Left 4 Dead. I was thinking about going to the party an hour early, but I ended up getting lost in that hour, and I actually found my friend in the library while I was asking for directions. So we got to the dorm, and I was really upset. We were drinking at their place, and I decided to go to the party, and we'll meet Jennifer. And so I asked her, I'm like, hey, is James here? And she's like, yeah, but like I think he left, like he went to drop off he went to find another place to park his car or something. I'm like, $100 says he drove off when he saw me, and he's probably not going to come back to the party. So I was not supposed to be drinking that weekend, but since I got stirred up, I decided to drink my sorrows. And yeah, I saw him, and he was dancing with Marcy, and I don't know, like he was whispering in her ear and stuff, and he had his like chin on his like neck, or I don't know, it just wasn't really a friendly dance, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so I was fucking furious. Like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You stood me up, you go to the party I invited you to, and you're flirting with another girl. So, well, he says he didn't flirt, but I don't know, I'm fucking know. Anyways, that's not the point. I was just fucking furious that he stood me up and he went to the party. So I was just like, oh, okay, so you're just using me to go to social functions. So, I was like, well, you know what, two can fucking play at that game, and I ended up making out with a guy, and that was the worst kiss I've ever had, and, then I did another devious act that night, and came back home, and I get a text message now, ladies, like, I was hoping to see you at the party, but like I said, give me a call, and I was like, I thought since you arranged it, you were gonna call me, and he's like, no, but you said you were busy, and I didn't say, I was like, bullshit, I didn't say I was busy, I said I might not have enough money, there's a difference. So, you know, he arranged for another date, and I'm like, thank you so much, oh my god. So we go on our like actual second date. We eat at this Italian restaurant, and just the shit we're talking about just makes, I mean, we're talking about Two Girls One Cup, and we're talking about like, I know, we're just talking about really sick shit, and it just made like, and it was like a bunch of old people at the restaurant, and they were like waiters and waitresses just giving us like second glances at our table, and like, they must think we're so fucking twisted. But yeah, he said if he finished a pizza, like half of his pizza or some shit, I'd have to walk around town dressed up in Pokemon, and if he didn't, I would have to suggest a dare for him. So one dare I suggested was he goes streaking down the main road, one of the main roads. I was really hoping for that, but he said he didn't want to get arrested. I'm like, okay, well, I dare you to walk around screaming the N-word or dildos around town. He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. So after a couple of fucking failed attempts of suggestions, I said, alright, I dare you to go to Murphy's, which is a bar, and I dare you to flirt with just any man, like any like men you see at the bar. So we said deal. Anyways, he lost the bet. We go to Murphy's and we're talking about like who got stood up, and he was like, first of all, I got stood up because I asked you to call me, and I was like, no. And he was like, because, you know, you said you were going to be busy. I was like, I never said I was busy, I said I might not have enough money. But yeah, nonetheless, he still thinks he got stood up, and I really don't care. So we go to the bar, and we meet this, like, fucking 50 or 40-year-old man, like, a man in his late 40s, saying he's got, like, divorced, you know, he's divorced twice, or, like, he's, like, divorced once, and he's got grandkids and shit. And, there was one incident where James is a horrible flirt, and I was just trying so hard not to laugh because he was so fucking bad at it. There was one incident where he actually said, well, maybe you've had all these, like, maybe you just haven't found the right guy yet, and the guy just kind of like, you could see how uncomfortable that guy was, and he kind of like turns away. But yeah, and then he suggested I flirt with this guy, because he was just like, I don't see you trying, so I put my arm around this guy's chair, and I was like, so it's a guy like you doing in a place like this. That was the worst pickup line I've ever done, but, you know, I could tell I did a better job than him because I felt vomit coming up. And so, you know, this guy was like, oh hey, I've got a motorcycle that matches your blouse, and I was wearing a purple blouse that day. Like, it wasn't a blouse, it was like a V-neck. It was a 3/4 V-neck, but whatever. So I was just like, oh, that's, you know, he's like, you should take a ride sometimes, and I was like, I'd like that. And I looked at James, like, oh, I don't know, I was either looking at James, I was like drinking, and like when the guy turned away, I was like, oh, I just felt violated. But yeah, so after that date, we're at the, oh, this is so fucking weird, but he goes to the gas station, and we're talking about our exes, and like what went wrong, and all that shit. And so, you know, I was talking about mine. I was basically saying, like, I'm still friends with this ex. This is the only ex I wanted to be friends with. I wish him all the best in the future. I just said, like, my ex is the sweetest guy in the world. I swear to God, if anyone ever tried to hurt him, I would hunt them down, and you would never find the body. Because, like, this guy, like, my ex is a total sweetheart. Just, like I said, just distance. That's what fucked it up. At the gas station, fills up his tank, and he's sitting in the car in awkward silence because I was just like, well, this hasn't been an awkward date. I flirted with a 40-year-old man and we're talking about our exes. And, you know, he said that his ex, he actually thought about wanting to marry, because, you know, they've been together for 4 years, made fucking sense, but, you know, it was just really awkward. And so he just said, can I ask you a question? And I really wasn't expecting this. I thought he was just going to ask me about, like, my favourite cat or something. I was just like, what? And he goes, can I kiss you? It's been 2 years since I've made out with a guy, so I just said, why? And he said, why not? And I said, well, I haven't made out with someone in like 2 years, so it's gonna be really fucking bad. Turns out he was really fucking bad, and he used too much teeth. But yeah, anyways, so he asked for my opinion when he was dropping me off in my dorm, and he goes, can I give you a second kiss? So, you know, he gave me a second kiss, and like, we made out for like half an hour, and what was it, the radio kept saying, penis through a wire, and we stopped kissing, we started laughing. So, and then like, we weren't allowed to park at the cul-de-sac, so we went around and we started making out there, and once again the radio said penis through a wire, and he was like, god damn it. And then like 2 girls on the second floor could see us making out, so we drove out and we went on top of this hill where this like person's house was, and we ended up making out like in front of their like fucking parking thing. We finally said goodbye after an hour. The third time I saw him, he was gonna cook me dinner, and he's just like, anything you don't like? I'm just like, there's only 2 vegetables I don't like more than anything in the world, and that's like zucchinis / courgettes and Brussels sprouts. So yeah, he cooked me dinner at his place, and I met his dog Marley. You know, Marley, I thought Marley was gonna be like really like butch and tough looking, because he was like half pit and half chow or something. But yeah, he looks really adorable and fluffy. Go to his house, and what was it, watching Avatar? I don't know if we were watching no, we're playing Jeopardy, and I'm not sure if we're watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. He wanted me to stay longer, but I couldn't, because I had school the next day at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up at 6 and do my makeup and shit and go. I think the second time I went to his house, I know for a fact we were watching Avatar, and what was it, we're playing a Jeopardy drinking game, we're playing an Avatar drinking game, and it's funny because he was saying, what was it, like yeah, he always, I was like, I've noticed the girls here are hotter than the guys here, and he's like, yeah, and then there's girls that like, there's like girls that, you know, there's like guys that date girls out of the league, like us for example, and I was like, I think it's the exact opposite. And he goes, what? And I was like, yeah, because like I like guys with green eyes, and you have green eyes, so we started making out after Avatar finished. No, I went to the international ball, and you'll hear about that all in my blog. It was on the 26th of April, but I will put a post like down the bottom. But yeah, that was definitely the worst night I've ever had. I'll have the link down the bottom. The other time I went to his house, that was a pretty bad night. Both of us were still angry at each other after the international ball. Like, I mean, I was like fucking fuming. Like, I was ready to like strangle him in the car. Like, the tension was so like intense. Like, you could just cut it with a knife. I mean, I'm not sure about him, but it was definitely like that with me. Like, I just didn't want to look at him. It's just like keeping my cool and shit. Because, you know, I was going to his house. He said, you know, the whole time you've been here, you haven't looked at me. And so I looked at him. I was smiling because I was like, I could fucking strangle you right now after just the shit you put me through. I mean, because like, he got angry because I paid for half. Like, I paid him $20 for the date, because like we went on 2 dates, and I pay half on dates. So I gave him $20, and he just drove off, and he sent me a fucking text message 10 minutes later saying, or like 4 minutes later saying, like, I know what that meant, because he, you know, he thought that meant like if I paid half on the date, it meant I really saw him as a friend, or, you know, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, am I soliciting for your advances, or? And he was just like, yeah, you know, if you pay for half, it means then like the girl only sees you as a friend. And I was like, what part of the fucking horoscope section did you get that from? And, you know, I asked him after a day to like call me, but he said that he had work and I wasn't really listening. But like 2 days passed, he didn't call, so I just deleted his Facebook. I was on the way to deleting his number until he gave me a text message and, you know, asked me to meet up at his house, and, you know, we ended up driving there. He went upstairs and I was just studying, and he's like, you know, he said something like, I really like you, and, you know, I don't know, he said something else, but I wasn't listening because, like, I was so fucking angry and I was, like, looking at Avatar, or, like, it just sounded so fucking stupid that I just started laughing or something. And yeah, anyways, maybe I just couldn't remember because I just thought it was fucking stupid. After 2 days I had him on Facebook again, and what was it, second time I go to his house, second time I meet him, he says he wants to ruin my last day in Boone. And I mean, he looked dead serious when he said that. Like, I mean, like, he didn't look dead serious, but he looked convincing. So I was just like, why the fuck would you ruin my last night in Boone? He said, just cause, you know, cause like you're so wound up tightly all the time, you need to just relax and just go with the flow. I'm like, I always go with the flow, but it's nice to have a backup plan, you know. He's like, you know, just sometimes it's nice not to have a backup plan. It's like, sometimes it's not, because me and my dad have been travelling around Cambodia and fucking, like, you know, like Thailand, and I know what that's like not to have a backup plan, just to sleep in just crappy hotels and shit, and dodgy alleyways. So, you know, he didn't really understand that. He just said it was more thrilling. I just said, if you ruin my last night in Boone, I will not invite you. And he goes, I'm just gonna show up drunk and just find your dorm. I'm like, if you do that, I will never, I won't pick up. I'm just gonna go to the party, and yeah, you know, you can go fuck yourself. I meet him a night before the party. He says, so are you going to Emily's party? I'm like, shit, because Emily's my peer, and I was fucking praying that he wouldn't get the invitation. And, you know, we're at the party, at like we're at the first goodbye party. I was like, yeah, and, you know, I was really hoping he wouldn't go, because I knew he said he was gonna ruin it. So I was like, you know, fuck, what am I gonna do if he ruins it? Like, cause, you know, I don't do well under pressure. So the night comes and I'm supposed to be in the dorm meeting, what was it, like, his friend is friends with my friends, so I was supposed to meet up with them, but like I was already at the liquor, because like my dad gave me like petty money, and I was buying liquor, and I brought like Colt 45, and I was like, the house was already next to the bar, like next to the liquor store, and I was only like a 10-minute walk from there. So I just, you know, I walked up there, and I was already drunk as I passed out on the couch, and Oyama woke me up. I see James, and he only treated me as a friend when I went to Antoine's. Like, he just hugged me and then he just left because he went to use the bathroom. And this time he like just didn't bother talking to me, and he was like, you know, when I was in this room he'd be in another room, and when I was in another room he'd be in this room. So yeah, I was just like, okay. He says, oh hey, I'm gonna introduce you to my friend. He was talking about this friend on Facebook, and we're like private messaging, and he says, oh hey, blah blah blah, this is my friend Emma. And I just stopped dead in my tracks, and like, I mean, I look pretty calm on the outside, but I think like a record scratch just went through my head. I'm like, what? I was like, we've been dating for a month, fucking really? Like, I mean, you could have just introduced me as Emma, like, that would have been more polite. And I looked at him like, really, your friend? Like, is this how you introduce like every girl you date? Like, really? So I was like, yeah, I kind of just left, to be honest, and I just tried to enjoy my night. And I was, you know, I was like really just depressed about it. I was like, oh well, is there actually any guy that actually likes me for, you know, like, you know, more than sex, or just more than just like just to use me? I was, in a subtle way, I was trying to confront my other friend, the guy that I could never see myself dating with, like, just to see if he actually had any genuine feelings for me. And he actually had feelings for another girl, and he was really upset about it in New York. And that's just when I pretty much felt worthless that night. I mean, my dream guy that, like, you know, while we were playing Mario at his house, said he skateboards and plays guitar, just called me a friend after dating for a month. And the guy that I've had like mixed feelings for since I got here, like since I got to Boone. Yeah, so I felt really worthless that night, and that, you know, like, yeah, like, I mean, it's weird because every time I saw this guy at parties, like, you know, every time I went to a party, I was hoping this guy would show up, and, you know, my heart would skip a beat every time it did. But it was weird because, like, I could just never see myself dating this guy. James caught on that I had feelings for this other guy, but he thought they were like really genuine feelings, whereas it was nothing like that. It was more like, you know, does anyone actually care about me, kind of like thing. It wasn't really like genuine, like, oh my god, I'm just using James as like a backup. But yeah, that's what he thought. So before I left Boone, I sent him a message at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I thanked him for, like, you know, like cooking dinner for me and the dates and everything. And what was it? He got like angry and he said, like, you know, just, yeah, thanks, even though you just used me as like a rebound or like a backup plan, or like, you know, even though it was like a half-assed attempt at dating. I'm like, you know, I didn't see that message until I went to LA, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, what was it? You called me your friend, like, when you introduced me to your other friend. Like, what good outcome did you expect from that after dating for a month? And you said you were gonna ruin my night. Well, mission accomplished, you know, you really did ruin my last night. Never felt so worthless the whole time I was there. You're my dream guy, you know, you called me your friend, like, well, that's not how you treat your friend. I know, we kept talking, and I just got really upset, and I just started, like, crying, and, you know, I started crying in the shower. I went to bed, and, you know, woke up, my dad fucking called me at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure if I sent him another message before I left, not dad, but, you know. But yeah, I went to the airport, and I came back home, and he pretty much just said I was trying to keep my distance from you, because I knew that we only had 2 weeks, and that sucked. You know, I never intended to hurt you, and I'm sorry. And I cried on, like, I mean, I was trying to keep it together for 2 days, and I was so stressed, and I was so, like, I was so fucking depressed. I just started, I mean, when Yuki was asleep, I just started crying inside the airplane. I was like wiping away my tears. I was like staring out the window so no one would see me cry because of that, you know, because of what James said. And I was just like, okay, so didn't really want anything serious with me the whole time. Definitely one of the worst ways to, like, leave another country. So I went back home, and I didn't want to deal with this bullshit, and I said, you know what, it's like, I mean, my birthday's coming up soon. I mean, like, coming up soon, I meant, like, it was either, like, the day, what was it? It was either, like, the next day or, like, in 2 days. So I just said, my birthday's coming up soon, I really don't want to deal with this shit. And, like, I mean, like, I don't know, I didn't want to, like, I mean, it was almost my birthday coming up, and I didn't want to deal with this shit, so I blocked and deleted him in case he wrote anything on my birthday, or, like he wrote anything, like, after my birthday, because I know in America, like, they're like a day behind. I mean, I unblocked him, but I wasn't friends with him. 2 weeks later, which is now, I get a message from him saying, seriously, we're not friends again? Like you said, we only had 2 weeks together and you wanted to keep your distance from me, like fucking really? So, like, I didn't say it like that, but you know, I was just like, why does it, yeah, like, really, you're gonna, I would use the term friend, you know, he said, we're not Facebook friends anymore, or again, I said, seriously? I was like, really? I would use the term friend very lightly. I was like, why does it matter, like, if I'm, like, why would it matter if I'm a fucking Facebook friend? And, you know, didn't you say you wanted to keep your distance from me? Like, well, fucking mission accomplished, you got blocked and you I deleted your ass. Things aren't really going well at the moment. I mean, like in my life here, it's going great. Like, I mean, you know, I'm going through rehab, like not rehab, but you know, like I've stopped drinking, I've stopped smoking. I'm not eating healthier. I'm eating donuts and ramen. But yeah, like I'm definitely doing a lot. I mean, I'm way more healthier, like mentally, and I'm way more happier. But like, just when it comes to this fucking guy, I mean, this guy brings my fucking suicidal thoughts back. I mean, like, you know, having your dream guy tell you that, or like your almost dream guy, you know, he just has to have red hair, but you know, it just looked fucking weird. Anyway, I've been really distraught about this shit for 2 weeks. I've been trying to like contain it. I mean, I'm pretty grateful for everything that's happened, like at the moment. I mean, like, you know, I have like a week until until summer school starts. I have 6 months to go before I graduate, and I mean, I clock Silent Hill 2. I've been afraid of since I was like for 14 years. So yeah, just looking up on the positive. So the lesson I've probably learned is just because they're your dream person doesn't always mean they're your dream. My fucked up story that was almost an hour, and yeah, see you later.
1. Saved voice message. To listen to messages, press 1. To send a message, press first saved voice message.
Yes, I am so glad that I got in touch with you, doctor. You see, I'm in urgent need of psychiatric help. I have been experiencing what I can only describe as obsessive tendencies towards this girl, and I could really use some help with it. Please call me back with any information, although there is a chance that you might only exacerbate the situation. But I'd love to have your expert opinion. Thank you so much.